Good, how are you? Good. Good.
We'll call a meeting to order at 9:03. Roll call.
Camilla Campbell.
Camilla here.
Tom Kress.
Here.
Nancy Lackey.
Here.
Joey Salazar.
Here.
Sly Michaels.
Here. Petitions or communications, oral or written? Does anybody have any?
Go ahead.
We
Okay.
have Steve Morton this morning.
Hello, hello. Is this where we start? I like this new look here.
Oh, we've been doing it for a while. You haven't come in, Steve.
No, I've been working on this project. Anyway, if you guys have that in front of you, brought some. It's something we're going to take more than 10 minutes and probably maybe more than an hour. If you guys are interested in getting involved with it, I think I'd really like to be able to have a good work session so that I can get the input from Tourism City on make sure we're all working in the same direction. Basically, what it's about is what I like to call the infrastructure for tourism and economic development, and addressing some of the things that that we need to do before we keep spending money, especially like promotion, because we need to have a more targeted marketing scheme, so that when we put our promotion dollars out, we're going directly to the folks targeted for the different, what I'll call magnets, which I mean by magnets is like mountain biking, hiking, health, wellness, all sorts of different things. That the way I look at it is, if I'm sitting in Dallas, Houston, Oklahoma City, would I drive 10, 12 hours to go do these things? And of course, when we bring people here for that special interest, then we're able to promote and help direct them to all the great things we have to offer that's beyond that special interest. So that's why all the businesses and our events are going to benefit, and actually already have. We have a pretty good proven record since we started in 2016. Actually, our 2015, we started publishing 2016. And every year we've kind of added on, expanded a little bit. Once the magazine became far more successful than we could ever hope, especially out of town, especially in our states. The flatlanders, I used to be one from Oklahoma. So Texas, Oklahoma, South Kansas, that's all a comfortable day's drive to us. Everybody knows that about Texans and Oklahoma and stuff, but we're not, we're not even putting a little bit of a dent into those folks. That's 30 million people that we're the first true mountain experience, and for as long as it lasts, we're the first true marijuana experience too. So that's a magnet for us to take advantage of as well. But we do need to start working on some things to make it even feasible to start having people coming in tens of thousands extra a month, hundreds of thousands a year. So those are things we need to certainly address. And for economic development, getting businesses, folks to come here, small businesses, large businesses. Some of the things they look at that deter them right now, one is our education and another one is our workforce. Okay, those go hand in hand. Education is economic development. And so we're going to be doing some work, we're already laying some groundwork this year to get started for next year with the schools, working with TSJC in their writing program. And they're very excited for us to work together, because what we're going to be doing is called Legends Junior, which is a magazine that's done by the students. And from a student perspective, some will be about the school, but they're going to learn how to write about their own communities.
So would that be a separate guide that they'll put out?
That'd be a separate magazine too. And the new Legends itself, we're cranking back up in the spring. We kind of took a restructuring time here to get some other things done. But we're very excited about that, because it's things I've already done programs similar to very successfully. The kids always respond. When you raise the bar, they just come up to it. But that's gonna help us, because we'll get them participating in something they want to participate in, and then we'll sneak in some more education. But stuff like, even the workforce readiness type of stuff, start the learning, work ethic. You can't wait till they're 18, 19 years old and think you're going to change their work ethic. So we've got to start young. Anyway, that's one of the programs you see in there. Also, what I call the True Ambassador Program. I want Chamber can keep cutting ribbons, and we're not going to conflict with that. But it's having an aggressive incentives for folks that are sitting, especially on the highway and in the marijuana shops. Unfortunately, marijuana shops quite often are kind of like the highway stuff. Folks come, get what they want, and leave. And we got to get them into town, and that's one of the things. Another thing that's going to aid that is you'll see the what I call the video kiosk, but that's a thing that we'll have video, the big kiosk that we put into some of the traffic spots, like the parks, things that people come to anyway, and then be able to show them, what all's going on in town and promote it. And the big ones are to get them into, just like we'll come speak to you when we start to do this, but we like to have monitors at the lobby that, we can run the promotion material on, and the other main stops out there on the highway. So that we're not totally just dependent on the folks working there to promote the town. Because we try to do everything with a multi-platform. We have the magazine, have the website, and we have the video, TV. Other thing we're starting in November here, we're ready to roll with it, is New Legends online TV station. And we'll have the flagship, that'll be the New Legends magazine come to life, basically as a weekly podcast. But it's also gonna create a station that will be promoting out to the whole area, as well to the world really, but with an emphasis on our 5 states, Colorado, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, South Kansas. So that all these great videos, we have a lot of videos out there, but they're not really together and promoted out. So, we'll have a place for other locally produced videos to find a home to help get them. Because the idea is first all work together to increase our tourism and increase our economic development. That and the other things we've done, just real quickly, I'm proud of. This is last April, New Legends website. Google informed us we were the Google verified information source for the region, and you can't buy that, you just earn it through what you do. And so that's exciting, and our social media has become a very powerful outlet there. Events, we've seen an increase in event participation. People were showing up for them, because that's one of the reasons I started doing this. I'd go to these great events and there'd be 20 people there. It's like, okay, this is crazy. It's just because, people aren't knowing. They're not knowing what's going on. So our calendar and then we started doing the Weekend Express, which comes out every Thursday, and it just is another printed form of our calendars, so that people can pick it up through the region and know what is going on to attend these events, stuff like that. So, as I said, as you'll see there, there's definitely some dollars going to take to see this through. So I'm going to be talking to, and have been already, speaking with different major businesses that will want to see economic development programs that'll work. We've had a lot of things over the years, but they never seem to be sustained. I think one of the main reasons is it's a lot of times we get out of town folks, they give program, they give, here's the plan, but then it doesn't really get implemented.
Right. So,
Steve, is there a package that you're offering us, or I'm
Um,
not really sure?
No, that's why, yeah, as I said, we need to speak some more, because as you see, the shortfall is a little over 200,000 from what we're able to generate, okay, a year. I don't expect you guys to pick up all of that. I mean, like I said, this is a collective effort that different folks can put in, you know, like, and folks that this will apply to, you know, the economic development growth is really what they have to have, and utilities, for example. You know, as I spoke with Ed Francis, you know, Bank, he said, I'd rather spend money on true economic development like this, you know, over advertising to folks who can't really do that much business with this kind of deal. And that makes sense to me. It's the first time I heard someone state that. But and he's been working with me, you know, to figure out all the different groups that we can go to get, you know.
From the potential funding sources, do you have anybody on board with you now?
Well, we have some, but we're just now starting to go after that. You know, I want to get a lot of things actually going or happening, so we weren't just pie in the sky, which we're far from that. As I said, I'll get back with Ed and our other Ed at FMB. They've always been great supporters. Definitely, some of the more bigger, more successful marijuana folks want to, you know, they see the and they want to do this with us. So I don't have numbers, so to answer your question, I don't have. Yes, I've got this much committed yet. What I would hope for is if you guys, you know, could do as much as 10,000 a quarter. I know that's 40,000 a year, but for what we're doing here, we're covering a lot, because everything we do
I would
helps
like to
all
see
this.
some more committed people to this before I looked at it.
Huh. Okay, well, then you're saying you want to get back with you after other people want to do that. Is that consensus?
That's mine.
Everybody
You know,
feel that way?
Everybody else might have a different opinion.
Yes. We might not ever get anything going if everybody has that opinion I talk to. But,
Well, Steve, your projected expenses, it seems like it's very lengthy and wishful, but realistically, what could you get this down to from 56,500 a month? What can?
it's like with anything. If you want to do less, you know, take things out of the program. I'm going to say not really, because you know, if you guys.
Well, I'm looking, for instance, at package vacation packages and tours are 2,000 a month. Promotional contests. How have the promotional contests in the past worked out?
The one we
treasure
did,
hunt.
the treasure hunt, very modest. I'd hope for
Okay,
better.
so possibly that might be one thing that could, I mean, I'm looking at your wish list, but of the wish list, what's the skeletal wish list? What can we realistically be looking at?
Well, and once again, when you start dissecting, taking things out, the effectiveness is going to go down. So I'll just say that. No, this is a pretty bare bones.
What percentage of increased tourists do you see then coming here if we are looking at the proposed project that you're looking at? Projects?
Well, of course, I'm not going to give you numbers that are total speculation.
Right.
I will say that even with the magazine and the website, we've had I'm sure you guys must keep up with this, but we've had a fairly substantial increase in tourism since we've been doing this. For the most part, nobody's doing anything different than they've always done that was going the other direction in tourism. And I've calculated in the marijuana folks. I've spoken to them about it, and said, no, our spikes came when we first came out. So we've had a nice steady growth since the spikes, but no new spikes until we came out in 2016, 2017, I believe it was a 17% increase. That's a significant increase. So that's just with the magazine and website. We haven't, that's the tip of the iceberg, very honestly.
Okay, so to go on, Steve.
Okay.
Student training and internship programs, is that what the program you're talking about with the college?
That's part of the, where the college will be working together with them.
Well, will they be funding part of this or all of this?
No,
No?
I'm not asking
Okay.
them to
Okay,
fund it. I'll ask them to fund some of it, but I don't expect, they don't usually have any funds. When it comes to this stuff, they'll be funding their part. Actually, program may well be making money for them instead of funding it so much, even with the schools. Things I've done with the schools in the past, they've actually profited the schools, not cost them. But we do have to get these things started.
And since I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just want to remind you that this was supposed to be a short
Right.
presentation.
Yeah.
And that we
Okay,
will
so we'll
ask
take it
Steve to
to-
come back after
Okay.
we review this, and then we
Okay.
can format
Thanks,
our
talk about
Steve, so
that,
much
yes.
for.
Steve, I got a quick question. On your analytics, how many hits do you get a month just from on your website?
Let's see, on the website, I think we're up to, we do about 4,000 a week, so monthly, I don't know. So we're around 18,000. And one of the things is our hits, our team to take care of that, they don't go after numbers that are fake numbers.
Yeah.
So our
Clicks.
numbers are real numbers.
Yeah, they're
You know, I mean, we could come in here and tell you we got 500,000, when we could,
Mhm.
but they'd be worthless clicks, robots, Africa, Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
So we don't do that.
Alright.
Anyway, but please, let me know when we can meet again. I really hope to see you guys get on board with this, because it's what we're both about.
Have we marketed with you at all? Have we got any ads since you've
When I
been
first
open?
started, I've always
Well,
been
we
grateful
actually
to tell
helped
people.
lift off the magazine.
They helped when the 20,000 is supposed to last, the summer blew off the shelves in about a month and a half. The tourism kicked in to print another 20,000. And I think you've ran a couple ads since then, but not in the last 2 years. No, tourism hasn't done much at all. And that's too bad. Because one of the big things that I would emphasize too with this is you'll see part of our budget is to increase, really double our magazine output. We're up to 50,000 a quarter, which is huge for this region.
Mhm.
But because of how well liked it is in Texas and Oklahoma and South Kansas, they blow off the shelves there. We just don't have enough magazines. So we'd like to, increase another 50,000. And most of that is going out to those folks strictly to get tourists to come here. And we also, one of the other things we did last year, we hired on professional distribution out that does our Colorado Springs, Pueblo, and Canyon City. And they went through 15,000 in about 2 months. So, we need a few extra for them as well. So, anyway, the thing is, we're moving, we're on the rise, and yeah, please jump in, let's work together.
Okay, we'll take it to work session.
Okay,
Thanks, Steve.
thanks.
Please, Steve.
Allison?
And if you have an extra one of those, I actually did one extra for Wally, if you do. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So Allison is
Thank you.
down,
Yeah.
at, quarterly reports
Oh, okay,
on the agenda, so we can just go into minutes.
okay. The approval of the minutes of September 11th, I don't know if anybody's had time to read those.
minutes, accept minutes of September 11th.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Old business, visitor profile study. So we have to choose between Buxton, RRC, or BBC.
So I called, I called two of them, the only one that called me back was Buxton. So I'm still waiting on the other two to call me back. So I called them, left a message, wanted to know if I can get hold of any guys that uses them, and to see where they're at on it.
Is Buxton's the one that was with, yeah.
Buxton's the mobile data.
Yeah.
And that's the one that called me back.
Yeah.
10 minutes, like, quick.
Tom, do you have any opinions on this?
So you'll actually have to take a vote.
No, we just, we talked about it in that workshop,
Yeah.
in the one that I kind of,
I'm in favor of Buxton.
yeah.
I'm in favor of Buxton,
And
it
I
covers
would,
that,
I
so.
would need a movement to,
I'll make a motion to accept.
and a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, period post signage at city gateways,
That's
Safeway.
Safeway.
Where are we on that? Safeway Art Mural?
So do we get the letters back from,
Marty put a letter together,
I
but
did.
we have not.
but did we get a signed letter from Safeway?
No, not yet.
No.
We just had the verbal that
The verbal
she
from
communicated
Billy?
aside.
Yeah.
So I, formatted a letter to them. I just don't know where to send it.
Yeah, actually.
Why don't we just give it to her and then have her
Yeah,
send it? I mean,
yeah.
she's the
Just give
manager
it
of
to her?
Safeway.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
Okay, so we'll finish that off this afternoon.
Okay.
Do you have some time this afternoon?
This afternoon I do,
Okay.
I'm kind of busy till about 2 as soon as this gets over.
By 5?
Okay. Period post signage at city gateways?
Well, yes, I talked to Mike Valentine, and he told me that they thought they might have some of the poles. So I told him what our idea is on the gateways, like commercial, Main Street and east end of Main Street. But he was gonna get back with me, but he was gonna look and see what he did have, so.
So do you wanna follow up on that, Marty? Just cause Mike's
With
really
Mike?
busy right now, it might be hard to.
So, just for clarification, are we doing anything with these banners at all? Is this kinda gone by the wayside? Are we not doing this anymore? I don't know where we stand with the
Are they
banners.
I mean, I think it'd be nice to put some out for, I mean, are they doing for Christmas?
Are they putting
hometown
up
holiday?
any Christmas ones back up? Hometown Holiday usually wants theirs up at Christmas time.
I can find out.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they'll probably do something.
Yeah, cause I think if they don't do it, I think we should do
Yeah.
something, but I mean, we only have a
Did you
month
get
to order 'em.
did you get a price or anything on that?
Well, you didn't tell me what you wanted, so I didn't know where to go for I don't know what to price out, so I didn't.
I think
do
we
that.
ought to prepare for the summertime, not for
Not for
Christmas,
winter.
not for winter, not for
Well, let's
Christmas.
see if they have them, but we'll
Yeah,
start.
cause those are the Christmas
So
ones.
as a reminder, one of the things that you discussed was doing, printed banners for each of these signature events. Or, you know, things that are going on in town that you
Right,
wanted to put
that's what we
banners
had
out
talked about.
specifically, rather than just a summer banner or a
Summer
winter banner.
banner,
You know, we've put banners up a lot over the years, and I'm pretty sure unless their banners are old and they're not gonna put them up this year, they're gonna do the hometown holiday ones.
yeah.
and-
Yes.
But, yeah, let's move
And
forward.
if you could check with them.
I'm not into pole stealing. I
Yeah,
think
no, they
it's
get upset
hometown,
about it,
yeah. I think
And
that's
the
their
farmer's
turn.
market likes theirs around the
Right.
farmer's market area
Mhm.
that time of year. So, yes, let's move ahead with it. We need a motion to move ahead with the banners and have Marty price out, a couple, I guess, maybe asking the city what is the most popular, so they have, the poles only can hold certain size ones.
Well, actually, they're adjustable.
Oh, okay.
So the
Those are
clamps
awesome.
on poles are adjustable, you can move them up or down.
And width-wise?
No, not widthwise, but lengthwise.
Length.
And
So
so,
what I saw in there was that the width is pretty common,
mhm.
it's the length that varies.
So shouldn't we decide what we want to buy banners for, rather than just,
Mhm.
Well,
With different
we
events.
had talked about events,
Events,
Right,
the
but-
events that are coming up.
right, but for next year,
Mhm.
like Camilla said, next year?
Yeah, right.
So somewhere in this time period, I can maybe look at some designs and figure out some events that we want, and then
Right.
I'll bring
Like-
another
Like
proposal
January.
back to you to kinda look at.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Alright.
And Marty, I remember when we did the, banners, that we did that with state funds through Main Street, those old historic ones. And those banners were really
Wide.
wide, they were almost too wide. We were excited.
Well,
they
we
were-
had trouble with them too,
Oh,
because
cause the
we had,
wind.
caught too much wind
Yeah.
and they were always whipping around and falling
Right.
apart.
Right.
And then we had some parking issues too, cause they extended it.
Yeah, they were huge.
Do you have any for the Mitchell right there in front?
No, we don't have any banners for the poles that are out front.
Like, I think that would be good for like the museum one for there.
Yeah, no, I think that.
We have a sandwich board that we roll out
Mhm.
and we paint whatever is going on for that weekend. I get just one of the
Oh,
locals
yeah.
to paint something, but it'd be great if we had something that we
Well, at
could
least they would
put
see
up.
that there was a museum.
Yeah, welcome, something.
Well, somebody walked by yesterday and said they had to go down and Fumio walked them down to the museum because they couldn't find it. But when you're on the sidewalk, you don't
don't see
see the sign up over the door,
Yeah, but
over the
If you're
arm.
also
Yeah.
looking at your phone, you're not gonna look.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, I think, a general welcome to Trinidad
Mhm.
banner would be good, you know, spaced intermittently
Mhm.
with, say, museums,
Mhm.
galleries and that type of
You
thing.
know, we even had, this is a long time ago now, maybe even 20 years ago. We had ones that had, like the lake, we had a golfing one, just so that people would say, is there really golfing here? So you'd say, yeah, is there really a lake here, you know?
Mhm.
So all the amenities in
Right.
Trinidad, if we
Right.
could get a
Even-
list of tourism.
Even
amenities.
some around the Welcome Center, right?
Mhm. Oh, yeah, that's a great idea around the Welcome
Mhm.
Center, yeah.
So now the other, discussion then was the gateway signage, is that gone away? The boards that you wanted, the directional signage?
I like those, I think that
Just-
the town needs something to bring the
I
people
thought we
down.
moved those to next year.
Those are next year?
That's from the retreat.
Now, are those the ones with the planner?
They're the ones, the constructed
Yeah,
ones.
yes.
The one that I think would be a beneficial one would be right off of the commercial street exit.
Right.
Not the upper one, not the Colorado, but the lower one, because you have an on and off ramp right there.
Mhm.
And then you're just like stuck right there.
Right.
Where do you go? But I think one right when you're getting off of there,
And I think it's the
Pointing.
major entrance point.
So,
and pointing going up to commercial, what's available up commercial.
so that's
um,
probably another Mike Valentine question. Where, if we put signage up in that area, where is it?
Yeah, there is a place right there,
That's
right
the
off of
old-
right off of the highway, you know,
Yeah.
right off of that exit, which would be visual.
It's just that
Yeah.
sometimes CDOT owns certain footage right off
No,
of it.
it's on the, more on the
Okay.
railroad side than it is the state side.
Okay.
Okay, and then the third one was decorating those gateway areas for Christmas. Where are we with that?
Well, I like to see what
You
the
want me to do
city's
anything?
planning on doing with my.
Well,
Who's in charge of it?
I talked to Mike about that also, and he said that there is electricity right there.
Yeah.
And the two things that I was willing to make, I went and talked to them at the college, and they directed me to the welding department, cause I thought I would like to, I already have the plans. You know, all they have to do is just cut the metal out for
Sketch
me,
them.
and that's it. And, that's one of a Mr. and Miss Santa, and the other one I have is a polar bear, give it a gift to another polar bear. So I do
Put it in
have
the
those,
planter boxes,
and
right.
put them in those 2 planter boxes with lights, and then if the city or even us, if we could provide the lights for those trees. Cause my reasoning is it was so dark there last
Yes.
year when you
Well,
come
very
off the
dark.
highway. There was nothing,
Yeah.
not until you hit Main and Animas is where you had lights.
Well, I
Well,
think we
what
need
is
like
the
a wow
welcome
factor
center?
coming from this.
Yeah,
He
it
wasn't
really
on
is,
that
it really
They've even
needs to
called
be a
that.
wow factor.
Okay, so you guys wanna do a committee and we don't have to put this back on the
Right.
agenda, we'll
No,
just
we'll
know
just
it's
go
getting
for it.
done?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll help you
Well,
with that.
but
Tom.
let's,
Yeah.
do we need to make a motion for monies to get the lights so that we don't get hiccuped by that?
Yeah,
So
so-
maybe up to $2,000 for decorating for that entryway?
Okay, sounds good.
And can we
Sounds
ask the city if what they plan on doing with the lights downtown Trinidad, I mean, or if they have, will they have lights? Are they buying new lights? Because last year they bought a new lights. We bought 3 trees on my block alone that completely need revamping. So I wanna know what they're doing, cause they might be ordering new lights and maybe they could get lights for those trees.
I'll ask.
You know, and we could ask them.
I'll
So
see with Mike.
we need to make a motion, somebody needs to make a motion to authorize Tom or the committee for decorating up to $2,000 for,
I'll
I
make
make
a
a
motion.
motion.
You want me to make it?
You're on that committee, I'll make the motion.
And
Well, you have to be specific in the motion because
To
it's
spend up
involved
to
funding.
$2,000 for the city entrance on lights,
on Main Street.
on Main
And if
Street.
we like it, maybe we'll do one there on the bridge to Commercial Street too. What do you
We have a
guys think?
second?
I've been looking at like.
Second?
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Okay, so then go back, to the city report, the city council report. At the retreat, you had mentioned making a report to the city. Is that something that you want to?
yeah, I actually wanna do it next time. I had a different report I had to do for this time with the city, or I was gonna do it. So yeah, next time if you can see.
Get you on the agenda for the next regular meeting?
Mhm.
Okay, there also is a trolley report there if you needed to include that.
I saw that, I really appreciate that.
Okay.
So I typed out that whole list of stuff we did, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, all right, so I'll ask for a spot on the next agenda.
When is the next one?
There was one on.
You'll let us know when she's on.
Tuesday, so the next one,
The next which one?
the next city council meeting?
Not this Tuesday, is it? It's next Tuesday.
It's,
First and
No.
third.
yeah, it wouldn't be
it's 2
this week,
weeks.
cause they just had a work session
Right.
this
Yeah, they
week,
just had a
so.
work session, so
Let
the
us
next one
know
is a
because
regular
we could be
meeting.
there. All right.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm not positive, but I think so, yeah.
I'm sorry, what day did you think?
29th
The 29th of
that sounds right.
October.
Mhm.
so next week, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Chris, oh, we did that, okay. New business quarterly reports, Arcade and the Mitchell.
I just presented at your places the Mitchell
Mhm.
quarterly report, and then the Article report is on your, tablets.
You could come up, Allison, how's it going?
Good, really good things happening at the Mint right now. So the cover ad is the one that came, out in October's True West magazine. We had already planned on this one running. When we found out that we were getting money from y'all, that was kind of the middle to end of July, and this ad was already submitted, but they were able to add in on the bottom that this ad was made possible in part by a grant from the city tourism board. Advertising in magazines is very beneficial for us. We have found that over the last year and a half, but it's a 3-month out process. Like yesterday, I was sending in ads for January, February editions. So it looks like we haven't used much of the money yet, but we were already planning on doing all of this advertising for our winter and spring season because it was too late for the tourism season. But we have our big winter show, and November 7th there is an auction in Denver with several Mitchell pieces in it, and we got 3 pages in Western Art Collector for November's edition. There's one just kind of on the museum, and then there's 2 full pages on the museum, what we hope to accomplish by having pieces in this auction. And it talks about promoting not only the museum but the city of Trinidad with this auction, bringing people to the museum, letting people know about Mitchell again because he's kind of been forgotten.
How many people usually show up for that?
The auction. So I found out yesterday they're doing they call it a friend raiser, but it's also the same night as their preview party for the auction. And I went to this last year. It was for the Cal Sharp Historical Society in Taos, and there was about 20 people. They already have over 90 RSVPs, and they expect more, and they accredit that to it being centered around Mitchell. So that's huge for us.
It's not televised online?
It's not televised, but it's online. You can phone in, and it's live in the building. So there's several different ways to purchase items. But I really expected a lot of pushback when this was announced. Like, no, you can't get rid of anything. I haven't had that at all. People seem to understand that you can't keep somebody's memory alive if their art isn't on isn't out
No,
there,
I
you know.
heard somebody speak once that said, right, if you don't make it popular and the people that are buying aren't know it, then you're.
I would just like it to have been available to some Trinidad residents first.
Well, that's a good idea.
Well,
You know,
Ethically, you can still buy, Tom.
and my question was, do they plan on selling any more?
no, we
This
don't,
is
we
it.
don't plan on letting any more go.
This is
Now,
it.
if we find, we've got about 5,000 sketches, so if we find the sketches that go with these 9 or 10 paintings, we may consider letting those go under very specific circumstances, like if it's the person that purchased the painting and they give us the right to,
Oh, I see.
reprint, use it in advertising or that kind of thing. But, ethically, we have to put it out to everybody to buy because of how we're using the funds and because it's a nonprofit.
I'm gonna pass
So
this
many-
book around, so this is quite impressive.
Cause
We'll get more.
I knew him as a kid, so I've always
Well,
wanted.
there's a
one.
painting in the thing that Tommy wants, so before you sell it,
Well,
or
you
let
know,
him know.
Which one is it, second?
the few people that I thought were
That's
really
my
gonna
scary
get
thing.
pushback, like maybe the Terrabino brothers or something, one of them came in yesterday and said, how do I bid on a painting? And I went,
Right.
okay, so we're good. It's all okay. But, anyway,
So
we
did you
have
let them
had,
know about the online?
well, it was in the paper,
It
it was
was
in the
there.
journal,
I
it was in the
remember.
Chronicle, it's on our Facebook page, it's in Western Art Collector, it's in the Denver Post, it's, the great thing about this auction is normally it would be 25% of the profit goes to the auction house to cover marketing, printing, all of that. And because we're a museum and they want to help the museum, they're only charging 10%. So they get 10% of the final sale, and that covers absolutely everything. The only out of pocket that we've had to spend is, I think it was $700 shipping everything to Denver, and they sent the person down. They organized all of it. So every day I'm finding out new stuff that's happened because of this auction. People are coming forward that have Mitchells that we didn't know about, that they didn't know there was a museum. They didn't know really anything about the man. They just knew, oh, I've got one of these. 2 people in Connecticut, one in Washington, and one in Oregon. And we think we've got about 70%, about 90% of his collection at the museum.
Cause he wasn't too free with them.
No, not at all. He would sell if he needed to. I found a letter the other day from a little old lady in California. This was in 1954, and I think she was in her 80s then. And she thanked him profusely for selling her a painting. And he doodled on everything. So there's no question on how he felt about anything, because he just wrote it. On the back of the envelope, it says, she drove me nuts. I painted it, framed it, and shipped it for $90. She got a deal, but I needed the cash. So,
That's just the way he was.
yeah, we know he did sell things when it was necessary, and his sister did. And
One
so-
of the college presidents had one of his, and the estate gave it back to the museum.
Nice. I wonder which one it was.
I can't remember, but I used to deliver to him, and he had it in his living room.
We, the bulk of what we expect to get from the auction, if everything sells at the high estimate, just the high estimate, we anticipate a lot of things selling for more. There were 2 pieces that came up in February, and they sold for more than the estimate, so we're hoping that continues. And with all the interest that's being shown in it, but if we get just the high estimate, it's about $170,000. And y'all all know how old buildings are. In the last 30 years, a lot of the money that we've gotten in has gone to take care of the building and not the art. So this money is specific for taking care of the art. The curation room, the storage downstairs, we have heat down there, but we need air conditioning and humidity control. You would think you wouldn't need air conditioning in a basement. It is pretty cool, but it's all about climate control, not is it cool down here. And a book, that all the proceeds from the book will go back to maintaining the collection, but we have to print that book. to be able to sell it.
Have you applied for any grants for your, the,
The building?
we'll call it the humidity control AC?
No, but we're working on finding those. I'm working with Tony Lewis from.
Have you talked to DOLA?
No, not yet.
Okay.
They are on my list, but it's a pretty long list. And
Yeah.
it's just,
Yeah.
right now, this is what we've been really focusing on,
Yeah.
is getting everything ready for the auction. But so we didn't open, we were closed for quite a while. We didn't open until August of last year. So we missed most of the season last year. But August last year to August this year, our August number this year was up 30% from August last year. And the rest has kind of stayed on that vein, that up 30% from last year vein. We had a whole lot more at Christmas than we expected. The gift shop did really well. This year in our gift shop, in fact, we just got them all in yesterday, we have these animal ornaments, these felted, free trade wool animal ornaments, and $1 from each ornament is gonna go to Noah's Ark. We think the community supports us, and that we need to give back to the community however we can, and we can do that in that small way. At the bottom is a list of what we plan on advertising for the rest of, it goes until March. The KRDO advertising the commercials, we did that last year, and it was a huge success last year. We had so many people coming in from Springs that said, we saw this little commercial, or I saw you on the new news, and for some reason around the holidays last year, Rocky Mountain PBS decided to just about every day play that Art of the American West where Paul Milosevic is talking about Mitchell. We got a lot of people from that. So we're starting talks with them about doing a special just on Mitchell that we can use as our film strip there in the museum. Our little video in the museum, every single person in that video is dead. Not that that would keep us from showing it, but that just shows that it needs to be updated. And I am working on a grant to update the media aspect of it. But total advertising from October until March is $8,463, and y'all have committed from July through January, roughly $4,300, so that covers about half of that. But Wednesday night, I was at a dinner at the museum, and Phil Rico told me that he had just found out about a possible way for us to get that advertising free. So I haven't met with him yet about that, but hopefully he's got some good info at some conference that he had just been to. So, yeah. And y'all were talking about signage earlier. We'd love to have a sign that we can use every year for the quick draw. That just says, quick draw today or quick draw this weekend. I found a sign that says quick draw, that'd be perfect, but somebody put the date on it, which I can't use. It's not gonna be on the same date every year, but the sandwich board that I used says quick draw today, 11 o'clock, and, I use that, but that would go with the history.
Even if we had banners that was going on through the city
Yeah,
at
that would be really
time,
good, because there's always stuff going on when
But
we're.
not dates, because you just said
Right,
not
no,
dates, yeah.
no,
quick draw.
just a banner,
Yeah.
that it
It
is,
just says quick draw today, or quick
Yeah.
draw this Saturday.
today
you
would
know.
be the thing, or this weekend.
This weekend,
And we're probably always gonna have it at the History Museum. I just like that connection, because Mitchell founded the History Museum, and it's just such a pretty, setting. But that is, we made as much off the quick draw as we did on the Mardi Gras ball this year. And that quick draw is a whole lot easier to put on than the ball.
I lost
Yes.
one of those things.
I remember that little battle.
Yes.
But our winter show this year is gonna have several new artists that have not exhibited in Trinidad before. We have Duke Beardsley. Google him. He's really contemporary Western, and a few others that haven't Ray Shaw from the Exit 64 gallery is gonna be exhibiting, and, some of our old standards, but some new ones.
He's the one that has the eagle on the house.
They're looking at moving to Trinidad.
Oh,
He had-
really?
yeah,
I met
so-
him once, I know who you're talking
He
about.
was in a
Yeah, I
show
met
at
him
the
in
Chalice,
Walsenburg.
right?
Right, well,
Yes.
he was,
Yeah.
he had a few pieces in the Corazon during their
Yeah.
critter show. He came into the museum with his wife, they'd only been married about a week, and said they were looking at property in Trinidad, cause that's his friend's land out there. And, she is some PhD at the Air Force Academy and, has a few more years for it, but then they really like the artistic vibe of Trinidad right now, and when they wanna settle down, I think they wanna settle in Trinidad. So I said, go across the street, you do wildlife and they're doing an animal show, so, he had an eagle in that was really,
Yeah,
really.
he had the bear too.
Mhm.
That was really cool.
I thought it was really neat. But, he just wandered into the museum, had never heard of it. We, probably I'd say 70% of the people that come to the museum just wander in and are floored when they don't expect it to be that big when they walk in. But they just, why did I not know this was here? What? Trying to fix
Well, we
that.
have a lot of people that come into Trinidad that says,
We didn't know.
we didn't know about
Yeah.
Trinidad, period.
We
the
just
end.
passed through
Yeah.
for so many
Yeah.
years.
There was so many people yesterday coming in, first timers, that it was amazing.
We had some from our town yesterday that they come once
Oh,
a
yeah.
year and.
I had about 3
So
people from
based
Lubbock.
on this, does anybody wanna talk about additional funding for advertising and promotion?
On your books, so where does it show on your books, do you advertise?
Okay,
Cause I
so
don't see it in your financials.
there's not, there's a little spot in here that says, under the advertising, that we already spent $875, that this does not show up on the financials because the payment hasn't processed yet. I called True West Magazine yesterday and said, hey, sent this payment in July, and they just hadn't processed it yet. But the other advertising that's in here is local, and that is under whichever program it is. I asked Mary Byington does our books, so I asked her in the past to break out advertising specifically instead of just sticking it in an expense to have its own
Yeah.
category. Instead of just quick draw expense, it shows the advertising. I have spreadsheets in my office that show for each event that we do, how much we spend in advertising, but you're right, it doesn't show up on these.
So on the bottom line, it doesn't show against this 12,000?
It's
At
in
all?
there, it's just, it's
It's
not
on
its
another.
own line item number.
So,
So,
like it shows in September, 19, it shows, and actually in August too, it shows, so you're saying under the quick draw event itself, the amount that you spend for advertising is built into that 176.70?
it's under the expenses.
Oh,
So you see in July, expenses 204.88, August expenses
Yeah.
620.
Oh, gotcha.
There were $300 of advertising in the Journal and the Chronicle.
So it's just
that's
built
in
into
that
that
620,
figure.
right. But going forward, because
It'll have its own line.
September is our year end, starting in October's financials, advertising will have its own, line item number. It won't be like that.
Allison, I had a quick question. One of the requirements of the grant was that you open 6 days a week.
We are.
Can you kind of
It's
let us
just the
know
numbers are-
how that's affected visitation, or if it's
it's-
a positive thing, or?
No, not really.
Expenses.
Monday is our lowest attendance day. We average about 8 people. Yes, this past Monday we had 3 people, but Tuesday we had 17. So Mondays are not a big day at the museum at all, but we are, since we got the letter, there was a week in between time for the board members to get their schedules together, but I don't work on Mondays, but a board member comes in on Monday. And, it's just not a big, every now and then we'll crack over the 10,
But it's more than you used to have.
well,
Yeah.
not being open, there's
There you
none,
go.
but there
So
have
you're up.
been, yeah, there have been several Mondays that nobody has come in, but the
And that's-
average is
yeah.
8.
Yeah.
And
I'm shocked because Mondays is one of my busiest
Yeah.
days. Tuesday, Wednesday are my slowest days.
One morning I was downtown and you had a bus in front of,
Mhm.
with.
That's been
how
happening
many-
about once a week now.
So, My thing about that bus is I would like to find how they find out about us. Because I would like to link with more of them buses.
Right.
To come into Trinidad and do like they did, because they were all over.
Cause there was
Main
that
Street.
balloon on my.
There's been several tour buses this summer,
Yeah.
and it's
But
just a
my
tour
thing-
company.
And they
My
don't
thing
The
is-
know,
route that we're
Right.
going, and they just
they're
happen to
going to
stop.
Albuquerque.
But I would
is-
like to find their connections as that we are here.
They're going to Albuquerque and they only stop for lunch, they have an hour, so
Right.
they have an hour to figure out
Figure
where
out
they're
what.
gonna go. So I feel like there's a sign on the door that says restaurant recommendations and tour guide in here, because I get so much
We
of
get
that,
so, we
and I
get
just
a lot,
say,
we get a lot.
this way, across the street, over there, I just mentioned everybody right there
That's
in
what I
the
do.
area.
Yeah.
And, but those tour buses, the 3 that have stopped in the last 4 weeks have all been going to Albuquerque.
Right,
So they're
Is-
Denver
is-
to Albuquerque.
right.
So if.
It's a halfway point, and that's.
Well, my thing is I would like to
Yeah.
kinda get in touch with the company that does that we are here.
They've been doing these
buses.
buses for years.
Yeah.
But it
They
seems
have
like
been
I'm
doing it
just
for
now
years.
seeing them
Oh,
coming
I've
to
seen
town
them.
though.
I've seen a lot
I
of
don't
them.
know if it was because McDonald's was closed and so, but they didn't know where to park.
The thing of it is, you don't see them in big groups, 10 people. You'll see 1 or 2
Right.
people by themselves. You
They
never
scatter.
know that they're
They
in a
scatter.
group.
I totally understand all of that. I would just like to connect with these tour companies.
It'd be great to
that-
connect with them, give
Right.
them a specific place to park, and maybe
Right.
the trolley picks them up and takes them into Main Street. I don't know.
Even if we bought the bus driver the lunch.
Yeah.
His lunch, you know, just to get that activity downtown.
Well, they
There
go
is a-
downtown. They
There's a
do.
website that lists coach tours,
Yeah.
tour bus tours.
So maybe
We
Trinidad.
might just wanna connect with them and see who uses our route or
Yeah.
what's going on. and-
I didn't know until
They've been
a
doing
couple
that for
weeks
years.
ago
Yeah.
that they were stopping here for lunch, cause
Well, I
I've never
just
seen
thought it
them.
was-
Then all
Well,
of a
they
sudden I
just
did.
don't go in big groups, and you just don't know they're doing it. And when you come into the store, where are you from? We're with the tour group.
Yeah.
Okay, there were 2 people here earlier than that, and they don't all walk the streets. I'll tell you that right
No,
now,
and-
because it is an older group, and so they don't all walk the
It was,
streets.
it was great when I parked
It
right
was,
in
it
front of the
was, it
museum.
was
Yeah.
surprising for me because
Mhm.
one of those persons bought a piece from Sawa,
Yeah,
you know, and
I sold a
that
$300
made
Eclata
his,
one.
that made his month.
Yeah,
We had 11 tour buses stop by the Welcome Center this year.
Yeah.
This season.
Yeah,
this summer
they
season.
do, and there's quite a few, and you just don't know, because they're not walking in groups.
Yeah.
They're not, they might walk as husband and wife,
they do
yet
scatter.
they scattered.
Yeah,
Well,
that's-
they usually
that's the
stop
good
at the
thing.
Welcome Centers because McDonald's have that big parking lot.
Right,
And so they'd get off the highway and they'd stop
That's
at
where they
McDonald's,
go.
but they were closed this summer, so
so that
they
hurt.
kinda scooted up on
Yeah.
that little parking area between Taco Bell and McDonald's,
Mhm.
and they would just go wherever they usually
It'd be
go.
great if
but-
those bus drivers had pamphlets ahead of time, so they didn't have to
Well,
waste
that's,
part of their hour.
that would be
going
my
to
thing
that.
of connecting with those coach tours.
And they usually give them an hour for lunch at their stops,
Mhm.
in whatever little city they stop in.
No, we get a lot of buses at the hotel, we send them all downtown. Yeah. So,
Are
yeah,
there
you know,
any other
as much as
questions?
we could, it's making me think what else we could do, so, you know, maybe because, you know, they ask where to eat and we send them based on what their needs are
Right.
too. But maybe we could have some sort
This is
of,
what we do.
we could have some sort of material that we could add to the bus driver to, when they leave, you know.
Do you
So,
have any other questions for me?
no, thanks, Allison.
The Arcade report is in your tablets.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
Thank
app
you.
inside there.
We'll have more at the museum, they're sending a case of them.
Okay, good.
If you want, we'll have
Yeah.
them.
Okay, and there's the article page info. Anybody wanna talk about any part of that? We all good? Okay. Wally, you're up.
Okay. How are y'all doing?
Good, how are you, Wally?
Good. So, yeah, I was just asked to come and connect with you all about, I had been talking with Nancy over the past couple weeks about setting up a brewery summit where we invite a bunch of brewers down here and kind of put them up for a weekend and take them around to like possible locations where they could set up a spot. And
I'd like to include in that, you know, a brewery we obviously need, but if they're only mildly interested, a tap
house, yeah,
Tap
I
house.
totally agree, because that's a lot more affordable and
I
also
think
might
it's-
be able to attract
I
somebody
think
that
it's
has more
as
capital
well
to
as
do it.
like, we had the brewer guy in last Saturday night, and I can share with you what they said about that.
Yeah.
Oh, what was that?
The brewer and bike guys that were in last Saturday
Oh,
night,
okay.
I can share with you, you probably know the same thing about what they can do with their tap licenses versus a brewery, so.
Yeah,
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 so-
totally.
So, let's talk about that.
Well, let Wally go first.
Well, honestly, that's mostly what I have to say. And so far, all I've done so far is I've actually talked to Shawnee. I don't know her last name, but she's the head of the Colorado Brewers Guild, and I just pitched the idea to her of us bringing a bunch of them down there, and she said she thinks it's a great idea. She thinks that they could definitely get some brewers that'd be interested in it, as long as it's not this year, as long as it's sometime in the spring. They don't want to try and rush it or anything like that.
So with that, say, if you were thinking, March, April, what other steps do we need to do to make that happen before March, April?
And I think we need to locate what buildings we think would be possible sites that we could show to them. We need to figure out where we'd be putting them up.
So would you do that?
Yeah, and I'd be happy to.
One of the things I seen, it was on the news the other day, and it was like a 15-minute segment on breweries and wineries, or not wineries, but distillers. There's a federal excise tax now. It's $3.50 per whatever, how they measure it. It's supposed to go to 7. So they're talking about what it's gonna do to the industry if it goes to 7. I guess there's a senator who put a bill in the Senate now. I think it's in the Senate or it's in the House, to where they want to try to hold this tax to $3.50, but they talk to a lot of brewers, and it tells how it's going to really hurt them for expanding and employing, you know. So I don't know where that goes into play as to them, one of them moving here, you know,
Totally.
with that sales tax. But like, do you have a thing of like what the city can offer?
Basically what the city can offer right now is we have the rental assistance program for the
Is that
first.
still in effect?
It's right now they're not accepting new ones because they're tapped out for the year, but no, we have not like withdrawn it yet.
So
And-
do you have a dollar figure in your budget for that?
And the maximum that we are supposed to give any company is $5,000.
Because that's what they're going to be looking for. They're going to be
Is it a
looking
year
for
or-
And it should be $5,000 over the span of 18 months, and they can only get it for 18 months.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, as I have looked through the files, there have been people that have exceeded that amount, but the policy is supposed to be that it's only $5,000, and that it's only to help them get started, and then from there they're on their own. Right now we are looking at possibly getting rid of that, but I would really prefer to see us actually just stick to the policy as it was written, because I think that's where we have overspent in the past, is that we have accepted giving people more money than what was actually supposed to be allocated to them. The other thing that we can offer as the city is, because we own all of our own utilities, if it is the right fit, we can offer them free utilities if they're providing jobs, stuff like that.
So do you like have a package that when
Yep.
you go to someone, this is what we could do for you?
Yeah, we have one available, and we also have some tax breaks, but all of this is depending on how many jobs they provide. So if they're providing.
Wait, could you give us one of those packages? I'd like to see what our economic development package is for, so that is for the rental assistance, but you have an economic development package. So I'm somebody that wants to bring in 10 jobs or 100 jobs. Is there some package that economic development has?
There is a file in my folder that I need to kind of still freshen up for sure, but I have looked through it.
Even like realtors would be
Yeah.
good to be invited.
I would like to offer my help on this.
Okay.
This is what I see. But to reference your comments about the tax, I don't think it will have a hills being a difference. Because when we were at Rhino District, I don't see that dropping off. I don't think
They
that
have a population.
I don't think that the tax that people pay on marijuana affects that one bit. And I don't think that that would be a reason not to pursue this.
All I'm saying is just point at what I see. I'm not.
Something to make us
I'm
more
not-
appealing.
I'm not disagreeing that it's not a great idea at all. I'm 100% for it, you know.
Mhm.
It's just, they talked to brewers, and this is
Well,
what
where
they
was the
said.
video, where was the story from? What state?
Denver, Colorado.
Okay, so are the Rhino breweries
I did.
concerned?
Did you just letter saying?
Yes, there's 3 of them that were represented in that thing.
And they
there
see
was,
their business falling off drastically?
not being able to employ more or buying new equipment.
These are just some
I have it
numbers.
saved if you wanna see it.
So Wally, I have a question. We've had a couple of breweries here.
Yes.
Why were they unsuccessful, or were they, or did they just relocate, or what was the?
I can tell you exactly from the Elm Street station why they closed. They left owing us $10,000 in rent because they just wanted to go to Monument. They just up and left.
So is
So
that,
it wasn't
is
that
that
they
the
were
one that was on
unsuccessful, they
commercial
weren't
first?
making any money,
Pardon me?
how?
What? Say it again, Marty.
I just wondered why they decided to move on. Was it that they just
Well,
wanted a location?
Mismanagement. They were not taking care of customers. We had customers come to us and say, nobody waits on us. The owners, Brian and, forget his name, and Dave Hudson, they are all partners, and they were they just refused to manage it. So their business went down and they left. It was Trinidad Brewing Company,
Now,
who
what about
who
the
is
one-
now Paradox.
Right, what about the one that was actually at Elm Street before?
That's just one brewery that's been there.
Is that the
Well,
one
there
that
was
started
Dodgson
at
Creek, but
commercial?
there was another one that was.
There was one that started on commercial, and then they moved to Elm Street. Is that the way it was?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's Trinidad Brewing Company,
And that's the only one that was here.
yes. And then.
And then there was Dodgson Creek.
But they
That's-
were out of town.
And that's a location issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a location.
So the
I think
location
with
issue
Dodgson Creek,
where
that
it was like,
crazy though, cause like we offered, you know, we're like, we contacted them and they're like, put a couple taps on our, you know, beers in our tap, they wouldn't do it.
yeah,
Right,
And I'm like, well, aren't you a brewery, like, don't you wanna
Right.
sell beer?
Right.
And they're like,
right.
well, we don't wanna compete against you, I'm like, but it's your beer,
I
like, you're
know.
trying to sell your
Right.
beer.
It's just a lack of understanding of the business.
mhm.
But this is how I envision this, and I would be glad to help with it if this board wants to go forward with it. First of all, we had a brewer in Moose's Saturday night who came here with 6 bike riders, and they spent all day Saturday. They rode 50-some miles, east side to west side. They were exhausted, but they were thrilled. They loved the scenery, they loved the peacefulness, they liked no traffic. They loved the fact that they could be on a county road in less than 10 minutes.
Mhm.
So they drove 3 hours, but they rode all day without any interference. Among the riders was a brewer from Denver who works in the Rhino District. When you have a brewery, you have the option to have up to 3 tap licenses. That means that you can open a tap house without having a brewery there,
Yeah,
which is cheaper than a full-fledged brewery.
especially lately, cause I guess the tariffs have pretty drastically affected the
Yes,
brewing
Then
industry.
does it,
And they
is it,
think
is it
that
in the state or is it in the city?
state.
In the state?
A brewer can only brew and sell within a state unless he has interstate licensing. So, the way I vision this is much like a business conference. Set a date. I think it's important to set a date so that we can get some locked in. It would be a panel discussion, say at Pioneer, where you have realtors with city maps, a a show of the buildings that are available, some that need repair, some that don't need repair, and then take them on a tour. I think you need to whet their appetite. That's all I'm saying.
I think
Yeah.
the number one problem they're gonna have though, and I see it, you know, we have 12 beers on tap, we have the most taps in Trinidad. It's the population. There's 8,600 people here. They don't go out. There's so many people that come out.
It goes hand in
Is our
hand.
market that big though for a huge tap drinkers?
It's not a
A
huge,
brewery, I don't
They're
think it'll
not gonna-
sustain it. I
they're
really
not
don't.
okay.
I mean, I see it day in and day out. We bring IPAs on tap and we ask the people that drink that beer, what beer do you want on tap? There's 8 people that will choose which ones they want. Other than that, they could care less.
But
You know,
when
they
you're
go back
talking
to
about the
blue line.
current population, Joey, I'm talking about a population that is slowly growing here, coming from outside.
I think, I personally think that it's kind of important. And if you Google search top things to do in Trinidad right now, number one thing is go to Dodgton Creek Brewery, which doesn't even exist anymore.
No.
And that search engine is on TripAdvisor or which one?
It's on Google.
On Google,
If you just
okay.
Google like top things to do in Trinidad, going to the brewery is like ranked number one of what people have said they want to do. And that's a brewery that doesn't even exist anymore. I think as a tourism destination, as a place where people come, we need to have those centers that people know to look for when they come to in Colorado, and one of those is a brewery. Also I was at Startup Denver last month, and I went to this brewery summit where they had several of the brewers there talking about what they have found successful, what they haven't. And just going to any of them and telling them that we're a town in Colorado right next to the border that doesn't have a single brewery, a lot of their eyes just kind of like lit up. They're like, I would tell anyone to open a brewery there, regardless of the town size, rather than put another one in Rhino, because there's just so much competition there.
So, I love Nancy's idea. Can you put an economic development package together for brewers? Can we move on this so that even we could market it to people in general, so that when the Brewer Guild come here, they see people in town walking around, to let everybody know it's almost like a Brewers Guild festival in a small way, so that you have people walking around and wanting to, is there any way that we could I'm just spinning off what Nancy's doing here, is there any way we could offer, not only packages, but maybe some of those brewers serve their beer and maybe have some of that beer in some of the restaurants around town? I mean, I really wanna head it so that it's advertised that Brewers Guild is doing it in Trinidad, so people come in and the brewers see all the people looking.
The conference that we went to, they did have, some breweries and distilleries there. And that was one of the evening, they had samples of their stuff.
Yeah,
So, if they could,
bring
if
down
we
a pony
could
keg and
set up, like, maybe do something with Joey at the Bricks and have it there and Moose's and have them, there.
yeah.
Their sampling of their stuff,
Well, and I think for something like that, it would be open to the public.
Yeah, no, I
That's
want it to
how-
be so that
Yeah.
the brewers get excited, there's all these people here that
Right.
don't have a brewery.
They should be,
Yeah.
placed around town.
Yeah.
You've got to create some momentum around any new businesses coming here. And even if somebody were to come here, actually, now that I think of it, one of the bike riders is now working with a realtor, trying to find a building for a business he's thinking about opening here. To my point, it's not just about brewing, it's about a tap house. It's about what is an adjunct business that might go with brewing. A bike shop, a canoe shop, a fishing shop. We are touting ourselves as Southern Colorado's recreation region, but we don't have the businesses or facilities
support them.
that support that.
Yeah.
So it's not just tap house or brewery, Joey, it's everything. But
No, I understand it. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, like you said, we don't have the stuff in place for them to come in, or we don't have the population as of today. If you look in the last 3 years over our economic and population, it's decreased, it hasn't increased.
well, I disagree. We have increased. I don't mean to disagree with you.
From last year?
Yes, we are up over
I-
last year.
There's a report that just came out I'll show it to you, our population is down a little bit.
Well, I'm not talking about population, I'm talking about business growth.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about population, cause what I wanna see is I would like to see more people come to this town, move here, I'd like to see our population grow. Of course, all of us would, especially owns a business, cause then it creates more seats, more
Yeah.
people in your seat.
Right, right. And that,
Absolutely.
this is just one way to do it,
I'm not against it, it's not that I'm against it, I'm just saying like, what we need to do is, we need to put the things in place so it looks enticing for these new places to come in. Cause if I'm a new business, coming into our town, and if you're you're bringing in a multi-million-dollar corporation or business, you're gonna look at the population. You're gonna be like, can the population sustain this?
I'm just talking about a small
Yeah.
business, not a manufacturing
Well,
company.
one of the
Yeah.
biggest draws that we have, and one of the assets that we have that we don't always advertise when we're trying to get businesses, is I-25. We're the
Yeah.
second largest port of entry into the state of Colorado. That's pulling them off the road and putting them down to. Did you send this out already?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that one is from yesterday, and that one does talk about that.
Yeah,
that
and
we
there's
are-
just a few things that I thought, like, as someone who is in business, but like that should be added. So first of all, when you're talking about the Fisher's Peak acquisition, it wasn't just the Nature Conservancy, it was also the Trust for Public Lands. Go Colorado got the Starburst Award. That
Mhm.
might mean something to people that are reading this, and if I was part of that and I wasn't mentioned on here, I would be hurt since it was such a big, thing with all those players. And then the other, and this is just another thing that I thought would, for the brewers in Rhino and those areas is, one of our assets is that, Dana Crawford started Lodo, and so if she's buying buildings down here, that's important too. So when you're reaching out to them, is to actually throw out, Dana Crawford, who you may know, started Lodo, has already recently purchased so many buildings in the downtown area. It's
Yeah.
just a selling advertising point, because I really think that this idea is really a blockbuster great idea. And I really am glad that, our board, I'm glad that Nancy's been pushing it and working with you. I really think this is a blockbuster idea for Trinidad, and I think we need to make sure we can pull out any sales tool that we have.
Totally.
And so I don't know, I didn't really look at the backside of it, if it says anything about the largest port of entry in
It
the state
does.
of Colorado.
Yeah, it says it's behind Denver International Airport is the
Yeah.
business
So,
port of entry.
yeah,
as they
just
say.
wanna sell it a little bit more,
Yeah.
just cause we have those assets and we're all working together to make sure that, we grow it, help grow economic development.
Right, and I think we're a natural partner
Mhm.
for you and to you.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
us.
No, absolutely.
I have talked to 3 or 4 realtors and they are really excited about this. Because not only is it just for this particular invitation, it also exposes the real estate here. And they're not blindsided by old buildings. Look at Rhino. I mean,
Mhm.
yes, it takes millions to start up any business. Look at the cannabis business. It takes millions and millions to start a business, but look what it's done for the community.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna net, over 4 billion this year?
Mhm.
That's nothing to sneeze at.
And that's the main thing that I've kind of said to some of these brewers as I've talked to them
Right.
is if we're a town that can support 29 dispensaries, like with the right model, I'm positive that a brewery
Mhm.
could succeed here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, or even a couple big tap houses, I mean,
And from the hotel perspective, they're always asking us, do you have a brewery downtown?
Yeah,
they do,
totally.
they ask
Even
all
when
the
they
time.
asked us, and I'd say, no, but there's one down on the highway, they didn't wanna do that, they wanna go
Right.
downtown.
Yeah, it's a terrible location.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's awful to get on the highway to get there.
Right.
When we don't even have like a taxi service that most people know about
Right.
to even get back.
Right.
I mean, I think a good thing probably what you could do is you could call, Hutch with RMC, and he could tell you all the new breweries that are coming on board, cause we get a list every month of the new stuff coming online.
Mhm.
How many kegs they have, what do they have available, what size they are. You could talk to him and he'd be a great asset, I think, to try and find someone that would wanna move down here, cause I mean, he's the one that gets all their beer.
Totally.
He's the one that sells it, or, they wanna promote him.
Mhm.
And I think, National does the same thing, National, so Shinerbach is a beer from Texas, we had to order through, National, that's another one too, you might find, that maybe they wanna move over here.
Yeah, totally set up
So you
a
could,
base.
talk to the liquor and the beer distributors, and then they'll probably tell you, you know, maybe find someone that's interested in moving down here or
But
something.
we really need that economic development piece that, you know, is professional to get to these brewers.
And it may require some coordination with the city and the city's help financially. I know you're just new into your position, and haven't waded through all of the past packages, but I do think that, whether it's this business or another ABC business, we need some bit of incentive to help.
Yeah.
Yeah, and right now we have this tax incentive and rental assistance, then utilities.
And the
Anything else at this point
I-25
would probably be pulling from marijuana revenue.
Mm-hmm.
But, and for the most part, we just wanna make the town marketable
Right.
and make it seem like it's,
Right.
there is opportunity here for them.
Right.
Which I really do think that there is,
Mhm.
if they are in the right location, have the right people running it.
Absolutely.
My thing
So-
is I feel that if all of them can make it in Denver, I'm sure one would be able to make it here.
Absolutely.
With something that opened my eyes was they can sell their product within the state.
Yeah,
You know, that's the key thing there. So by them coming down here, setting up, I'm totally for it. You know, I'm totally for us trying anything
yeah.
to bring something new
Mhm.
to add to what we have going on.
Yeah, and that's kind of the first thing I did was look at the things that we do have and look at the things that we didn't have that people would
Right.
want to
Right.
be a part of the culture of a town that they would either come
Right.
visit or come move into. And this seemed one of the big ones. Also, a big thing for me personally right now is the space to create.
Mhm.
We're gonna have to fill that building at some point. Like, we have
Bring in a
20,000 square
brewery,
feet.
focus on a brewery and the other stuff will come because a brewery just brings so many people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and distilleries.
Absolutely.
So I don't see in this, I just perused through most of it, but I don't see a call to action, like, are you expecting to hear back from them, or are you gonna get back?
I already have heard back from them. And this one was honestly more of just a personal email
Yeah.
that I have worked with this woman in the past, and I
Yeah.
just saw this news report
Okay.
2 weeks ago, the Boulder Beer
Boulder
Company
Beer's closing, yeah.
is they're laying off 21
Right.
employees, including
Right.
several of the
Well, maybe
brewers.
somebody wants to start a brewery then.
That's what that
and-
email is about, is hey, would you pass this along to all of your brewers
And
that
that's my
we're
point,
a community that would be great for them to
because
look
in
into.
Fort Collins, I can't even count how many breweries, they are cannibalizing each other.
Yeah.
They are not, and the brewer guy Saturday night agreed with me, I said, they can't be all making money, he said they're not,
Mhm.
because there are too many of them.
Totally.
So, it's an economic decision for somebody possibly to get out of the jungle and go to it and have a captive audience.
I mean, you know, if they, I can think of lots of incentives that I think would be really advantageous if I was up in Denver doing that. The city of Trinidad is willing to put a sign on the I-25 corridor, right where the turnoff for Trinidad is. If you bring your brewery here for the first year, we'll pay for those fees. Something, I just think that there's so much to sell Trinidad at, and again, I can't say enough, I really wanna have a brewery here.
Yeah, no, I agree.
We want you to have one someday.
Yeah, I really want a brewery here.
Well, I think Trinidad's gotta create something more than,
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest thing on the new business coming to town is McDonald's opening up.
Yeah.
That's pretty sad. I mean,
Well,
it's great that it's new, but that can't be the biggest business opening, you know,
In town.
in Trinidad for the 2019.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree.
And
the
it
thing of
is.
it is that's part of a national market.
Yeah.
McDonald's.
It's not I mean, we gotta create something where we're getting more of a buzz than McDonald's opening.
Yeah.
And so besides the brewery that we're all really pushing for, what are the other projects that you have for economic development that we may not know about?
You all know about this one, but right now the biggest one is the space to create that I am working on, because we do still have a financial shortfall to do the entire common space. So we're working on raising the last 400,000 that we need to do for that. And so I've been working really close with the creative district on that.
What's the timeline for it to open though? Like, what is the timeline? Do you
The
guys
space to
have-
create? The residential spaces are supposed to be open by this summer. The original number I was hearing was June. Now I'm kind of hearing midsummer, but according to Evernet Art Space, they are set to hit that goal. The common space, I think, will not be too long after that, because right now it's looking like we're going to use the same contractors that are working on it now to go into the lower space and start working there. So So they'll be here in town working on it, but like I said, we still need to raise some money to finish that entire project.
The
But-
timeline for the facade of the building, is that the same timeline for the opening of the apartments, or is that?
I think that'll be sooner. Like they're working on that right now. I think that'll be actually ready fairly soon. Yeah.
Does
so
that mean
I'll
2
post
months,
that.
does that mean 4 months?
I'm not sure. And they will be having an informational session on November 5th. Art Space will be here in town, kind of telling everybody where things are, how people can apply to move into those spaces and all that stuff. And they're supposed to be opening up the application process for people moving into that building in January. They didn't want to start doing it before they knew when it would be opening, but they are expecting to do that at the start of the new year.
The Gibbs construction lease that we have with them, they're here through May of next year. They think possibly an extra 30-day extension, so they're thinking they'll be open and ready for the 28 units by June.
That was the original number that I had heard. So that
That's
would
the
be
28
great.
spaces on Elm Street, Nancy?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and they have really started busting it out over there. Like the foundation is all laid out, and yesterday when I was driving by, I saw all these pieces in
Right.
your parking lot over there.
I think that those living units are going to be modular units.
Yes, they
I
are.
think that's very cool.
How
Yeah,
many apartment spaces are there?
13 on Main, 28
13.
over there. So there's 41 in all. Yeah.
And it's all created for artists? Is that?
It's supposed to be you do some sort of creative art. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be physical art, but at the same time, I believe most of them are also supposed to have jobs, like outside of their art as well. I think that they're supposed to prove that they have some sort of income as well,
I think
which I think is great.
But it's
We
free
need
though, right? They
to
would rent for
strengthen
free.
No,
No.
no,
No, they don't.
no,
I thought someone said they
No,
did.
some of the spaces will be subsidized. Some of them won't be.
But it's even not much subsidy.
No.
Yeah, and it's basically like a scale based upon your income. That if you're really low income,
You
your
have
rent
to-
is lower.
And
So coming from
how many
economic
storefronts are
Good.
there?
What's that?
How many storefronts are there gonna be in?
We're not sure yet, because it's gonna be the way that we're doing it with the common space is we're trying to leave as much of it as open as possible, so that any business that comes to us wanting to set up, we can build out for them and design to their needs, so that we're not spending all the money building all these walls, putting all this stuff in there, and then have a business come in that doesn't need that. Right now, we've had a few proposals of people that would like to go in there, but it's gonna be essential that they can prove that they can generate revenue. Like, this isn't gonna be just a free space for people to
Right.
set up in. So far, the proposal we've had is a family event center, that Garrett Watson has proposed that he wants to put in there. And then a counterculture museum. The counterculture museum is the one that, for the most part, they don't really have a business plan in effect yet of how they would generate revenue. So they wanted the whole huge garage space in the back. But we've kind of told them, like, you need to show us how you'll generate $5,000 a month in revenue to justify you using up that much space. But one of the big things is I do think that it would be a great spot for a brewery. Like, I think that right in the center of town, we really want that to be a cultural hub where people from all over the community can go into and take advantage of actually having this space in town.
Now, when you do have this summit, is that kind of an option that you'll have that space is available for?
Yeah, and if we did this real estate tour of showing them different buildings around town, that would be one of the buildings we would show them. We'd show them the train station on Elm Street, which I think is also very connected with the Space to Create project, with those going in next door. Maybe the church over there right off Commercial Street, just different buildings around town that have the possibility of being used for that type of space.
Penny's building would be good. Somebody that was, if you got really a great, brewery, going back to the brewery building would be good too.
Yeah,
But
totally.
I'd like to stick it on Main or Commercial, just because
The
that's where
Mason
it's at.
Candy Company would be good.
There's been chatter about a meow wolf or a variation of a meow wolf going in there as well. Is that just chatter?
I've heard that too, but I haven't actually spoken to Meow
Oh,
Wolf
where?
about it, so, in the Space to
In the
Create.
space to create.
By giving them the garage for them to do something with it. And yeah, I've heard that mentioned, and I've worked with Meow Wolf in the past, but I have not specifically spoken to them about that. And I know there's some people in town who don't want it, that are involved with the project, but I think if they have the money to be able to support it, then yeah, that'd be a great asset. So But that's gonna be the biggest thing, that 20,000 square foot space needs to generate about a $10,000 a month revenue. And so we need to be finding businesses that are financially soluble in a way to be able to meet that.
And I think, Joey, to answer your question, originally, Art Space, they have to provide mandates that in order to qualify as a creative industry person, 28% of your taxable income you have to show as being generated from art or some type of is it 28%, Marty?
Hairdresser.
Yeah, you have to verify.
You are.
Yes.
But you can be a cake decorator
Yes.
or
Yeah.
musician or a
Be a
musician or
hairstylist.
I mean, the art,
It's anything
Yeah.
the definition of arts
Yeah.
is,
Uh-huh.
is
It's
huge.
Well, and right now, according to creative industries, brewing is one of them, because you
Right.
craft a beer
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Culinary is considered an art,
Right.
so.
What do you see the problem of a new business coming in? Like, how come we're not getting them? Like, I mean, I know you're just coming into your position and stuff, and I know, but you've been around, you know,
Yeah.
you know stuff. Like,
I know.
what do you think we're lacking, you
I know,
know,
me too.
in Trinidad for this brewery?
One of the
I think for a brewery,
Oh, no.
I think that they can look at the success of breweries in the past. We have had breweries here that haven't succeeded, and that'd be the biggest thing that would be a turn off to them. I think Trinidad does have a little bit of a reputation for not having the strongest workforce, that it's hard to get
Yeah.
staffing for different businesses and stuff like that. And that's one of the things that the art space, hopefully, or the space to create is gonna help us solve, is that if we're bringing in this new influx of people.
That's my biggest concern is young people aren't moving in here. There are some, but I see the older workforce.
Yeah,
Older
people that aren't
workforce are
necessarily
coming in,
looking to go into the
and
workforce.
They're not.
Well, you know, my business is different maybe because there's a lot of people that have moved in that don't wanna be in the food service business, and they're very quiet people, because I literally get tons of applications every week. I hire people, I've got tons of great housekeepers and maintenance people and front desk people that may not really wanna do food service, cause
Well,
it's a
even
specialty.
the cannabis industry, it's brought a lot of young
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
into this.
I did recently learn that some of them bring their own workers in though.
Yeah.
That,
Yes.
they provide.
Which is good.
Housing
Mhm.
for them,
Sure.
you know,
So,
they,
do you think there's a housing shortage here
Yes.
too with the the other part of it?
definitely, there is one for sure. It's really hard for people to rent here. It's not that hard for people to purchase,
Mhm.
but they have to have the money to do that, and a lot of the places for sale are not in good shape.
You're not in
So
good shape, so I knew there were places.
So they have to put money into it. And that's one of the biggest problems that we do need to solve, is how to get more people down here building housing. It's just really hard to compete.
Affordable housing though, cause then
Yeah.
we go back to
Mhm.
so many of my employees, they're making $13, $14, $15 an hour. And the rents, that's part of what happened when they raised the minimum wage.
Mhm.
Everybody wasn't foreseeing it, but what ended up happening is
Right.
housing rates went up too. They
Well-
can't afford $1,000 a month.
And they're getting a raise in January.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the trickiest thing is there's just so much opportunity for builders in Denver, Carter Springs, communities like that right now, where it costs them the same to build a house,
Yeah.
pretty much wherever they're building it. But if they can sell it for more than twice as much
3
up there
times
as
as
they
much.
can down here, it's hard to motivate the people to come down here and do that. Which is why I think we need to be pulling more from other states, probably, builders that are, just because things are booming so much up there
How
right now.
about the college with their building trades program?
They're working on improving it, and
Well, bringing it back, cause they totally cut it out.
Mhm.
But, to me, I think that would be a benefit, because the college itself built so many homes here.
yeah. And I've met with Dr. Epper a couple times now to discuss kind of the program she's working on. She has told me that she has really been reaching out to people in town, finding out what direction our economy is going, and trying to meet programming that meets those needs. And one of those is building trades. One of them is more emphasis in their art program, if we're trying to like present ourselves as an art community.
Right.
And then the big one right now is they're creating a trail building program, and that will be the first associate's degree trail building of its kind in the entire country. And so they're really hoping they can people to.
Is there any way we could help market that into areas from an economic development point of view, into, periodicals or magazines that it's the first of its
Well,
kind.
Donna said that they're working on it, they are working, just on the beginning stages,
Yeah,
because they
about
have,
getting
they're on the
accredited.
first with this, they have to go to Washington first, right, or the,
Yep.
so they're a little ways out, but
Yeah.
they're working
So
on
I
it.
think the answer is yes, but not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, from what I have heard, they're planning on starting those classes this time next year, so in the fall of next year. So they're doing, so I'm really glad to have spoken with her and heard what direction they are going, and they are really looking at the town, and they do recognize that the town is looking to them to be the institution that provides a workforce and that trains a workforce. So yeah, it is in the works, but it's just really tricky with other communities 2 hours away, really growing so much.
Well, and I think that's why it's so important that we have to work together, you know, through tourism, economic development, city council. I mean, all our boards really need to work together to create all these things that are happening, you know, and not happening.
Yeah.
Because if one group's working, the other one's not working, then we're butting heads against each other, and that's what it's been in the past. I think, you know, if you have an insight or something, we should be planning meetings together to figure out how to market each other, you know, to help each other, you know, create these different groups or these different, you know, like advertising, you know, we have advertising budgets that we can, you know, spend, like, what can we do to help you, or what can you do to help us to create some of this new stuff, like breweries, new businesses and all that.
Absolutely.
We gotta make Trinidad attractive for new stuff happening.
Yeah.
Well, on the brewery part, I'm all for
Yeah.
us being behind you in whatever you need to put it together.
Awesome.
Whether it be advertising or helping you sponsor.
And I think a big thing that we will be approaching you all for when that time comes is the Space to Create. Really putting it out there that this exists and that it is a place that new businesses will be able to come and set up shop, but they won't need to fully renovate a huge historic building that they may not have the funds for. Because we do want new businesses in town and new people. And that is the biggest thing. Like, we need to increase our tax revenue, but really the only way to do that is to bring more people here to pay taxes. And
So Wally, I really like that you came today. Can you make sure that you come once a month at our session?
yeah, and I'll try and come to all these when I can.
Yeah, so we can keep in touch if there's something that's popped up out there, that you hear of a new business coming or what, anything on the forefront for economic development, including getting the packages ready so that, you know, we could even use that, I know at the La Quinta we can, if we had some sort of economic development package that we could put a big sign up by the elevator so all the people that are coming and going saying, move your business to Trinidad, downtown Trinidad, rental assistance program, just highlights of what it was and use it as a marketing tool in the hotel so, you know, people that are coming by and sitting in going to the hotel rooms, they'll be able to see it or something. I mean, I really I don't think that I've seen an economic development package that was good for Trinidad in many years, and I really think that's important.
And there hasn't been anyone in this position in a couple of years, and I wasn't a huge fan of what I saw the last economic development person did. So,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. Anybody got anything else so we can move on?
Thank you
Thanks,
all.
Wally.
Thank
No, thank you all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Trolley?
So
Trolley,
just a
boom.
quick update on the trolley. So I gave you trolley numbers and I updated those. We were missing some forms. And so you'll see the numbers are a little bit more in line with what we might have expected. The last report I gave you, the numbers were really off. And so I found some additional trolley logs, and so now it actually makes sense.
So with the ridership, in May, what day did we start that?
Memorial Day and we end for Labor Day.
Okay, so it's right at the end and the beginning of the month. Okay.
Did
anybody want to see this for numbers for the
didn't we get this in our package?
Yes. No, you did not.
I know.
No, I just did this last night. Oh, yeah, so I had reported before, but I just updated the numbers for you.
Home lighting tours?
So I was contacted by the city, about the home lighting tours. Been in touch with, the trolley drivers, finding out who's available for the tours for the season, and getting that all together. I got a phone call from Mount Carmel that wants, I guess they're gonna be doing some decorating up at Mount Carmel, and they want us to add them to the home lighting tours. So I'm kinda putting the schedule together to see if we could include them in that, in those home tours. It'll actually be,
Have very many businesses come forward?
none yet, we haven't actually even, no, it wouldn't be businesses, it'd be homeowners.
Homeowners.
So they haven't actually started or announced the contest yet.
Good.
Coal Miners Memorial.
I love that
Museum.
idea personally.
Instead of using the trailer
Yeah.
that we usually use,
Because
it's cold
And
outside.
rain, and
for-
sometimes it's rained and sleet and you're standing out there waiting for the trolley.
So they've
I-
offered us their space.
That's awesome.
To use that, so I just wanted to let you know about that. And then we'll need to get some cocoa and apple cider purchased.
Can
We
you
do
call Penny from Main Street? I think they got some money appropriated to them, and I'm not sure, I wasn't at that meeting, to find out what it was. And obviously us as the tourism board would like to support whatever it is, and maybe we can do the candy canes and something.
Well,
But just
the
to make sure
museum
we're-
is gonna sell candy, so we won't
Okay.
need to purchase candy canes.
Okay.
And that'll help them too a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, just to find out what that money was appropriated, and if there's any other idea, like, do we have guides left from people in town? Can the guides be available for, our current guides? I don't know how many we have left.
We have enough to stop.
Just
No, no.
for local people that don't normally go, they only go through the home lighting contest, they might see what we're doing.
So guys,
anything-
on the trolley,
Yeah, is there anything else you can think of during the festival of them going to, the downtown area? Or can we recommend that maybe this is something, economic development, is there anything that when people ride the trolley, they could get something like visit downtown Trinidad for your shopping and get 10% off, or something as a tool that after they leave with their kids, they can take it home and say, hey, look at, some sort of thing that says, don't forget, buy your Christmas downtown, some sort of economic development with an incentive for people to ride in the trolley, because last year we were pretty much full up, weren't we, on that trolley for the
for the
season?
home lighting tours,
Yeah,
we will.
so can we
We
get
would
to,
do two trips a night generally.
yeah,
I think a map showing all of downtown for shops, restaurants, galleries,
uh-huh.
museums, I think that should be a #1 thing available.
Just use it, now we have a captured audience that might not go downtown all the time, but they do this annually to see the lights, can we get something
that's
in their
all right.
hand?
So a business map,
Yeah, just downtown, what's downtown, because if you're picking up hotel guests and you're bringing them downtown, the
Okay,
first
what's
thing you're gonna
downtown?
say is,
where's the boundaries of downtown?
well, the
The historic district, yeah.
Okay.
And then can you think about that, Wally?
similar to
You
the
think
trolley
you can
one,
add to that?
only,
Yeah. I know Cedar Street Printing has a map that's a good starting
They do,
point.
you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and anything else that maybe even on the back of that maps, actually just has bullet points of all the local restaurants for that, and all the places you can buy your Christmas gifts at. I mean, Christmas gifts are, we need to get local people buying their presents downtown. So, even.
Maybe Main Street could put something together like that.
Yeah,
The Main Street group.
oh yeah, well, they could, but I mean, it's an economic development piece, but yeah.
Marty, on your trolley thing, Blues Fest, 8 people, we have that thing going fast, down on the trolley here.
Those were the numbers that they gave me for the police department when they were taking the last night of the Blues Fest. They
Really?
used the trolley to take people home. There were 8 riders.
Wow, 'cause that trolley was filled the whole time.
There were only
No.
8 riders.
Really?
so the rest of them used shuttles?
They used the shuttles.
I'll be doggone.
The police department provided shuttles. We only had 8 riders.
Okay,
Those Blues Fest provided the show.
okay, volunteers decorate trolley?
Okay,
done
so, the volunteers wanted to know if they could decorate the trolley, they're really excited about it. It's usually the city employees downstairs, Kim, and I think some of the other employees decorate the trolley, and they just wanna decorate it.
Sure, is there any caution to how they decorate it? Is it just fine just to let them decorate it? They've done it before and.
Oh,
Do
they,
you
what,
have
they,
this stuff?
there's nothing, there's not
Yeah.
a whole lot to do. There's
Yeah.
maybe some garland and some
Uh-huh.
lights and maybe a wreath on the front or
Mhm.
something. But they're looking
And it's all
forward to it.
battery lit.
It's all, no, it's actually, they have outlets inside
Oh,
and
really?
outside the trolley.
Awesome.
And there you go again, so during the trolley lighting, not only trolley lighting, the lighting of the tree at City Hall and that, we have, you know, again, because we love parades in town, we have thousands of people come out for that. Is there any economic development tool we can use that just has a form that says all the places you can buy your Christmas presents in town and hand it to people even in the streets, you know?
No, because they throw it away and our streets are loaded with trash. Thank you very much.
I just want to-
I hate that.
Well, maybe that's something that we put on our website, put the shops, you know, change some of the stuff on our front site, you know, and put all the shops, just, you know, for
Yeah,
Christmas.
just a whole Christmas lineup.
Whole
Yeah.
Christmas lineup on our webpage,
Yeah.
and blast it on our Facebook page.
And blast
I think we
it.
need to up our
I just-
Facebook page,
people
though.
just throw things away.
We've been
on those
updating it,
things.
Marty, did you see I got access to it after you got access?
Yeah, I
was
saw
on
that
phone.
you had access to
So I was
that.
like, wow, I have access, so I posted a handful of times and so did you, yeah. Okay,
Yes, they can
So do,
decorate.
yes, they can, do we need to make a motion for that?
No.
Okay. Hotel to downtown shuttle,
Okay, so when do you wanna start that? Do we need to start making flyers and maps and signage for stops or downtown shopping nights?
I think
Is there any
Thanksgiving
kind of
weekend all the way through
Thanksgiving
Christmas.
weekend, all the way
Well,
through
the
Christmas.
one thing about running that shuttle is you have the lighting show. So those are gonna conflict with each other, aren't they?
That's why I put them next
We
to
only
each other,
have one
cause I
trolley.
didn't know how we were gonna do both at the same time.
Right, we
But-
only have one trolley, so.
And we
there's-
do tours Friday, Saturday, don't we?
Friday, Saturday and
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be a conflict.
Conflict.
there.
December sixth through December 29th, I think.
Yeah, we
it
got
is.
a conflict
So we
right
have a
there.
conflict.
Yeah.
So I
And
don't
what
know
is,
how, what you wanna do.
what are our ideas to solve this conflict?
Well, we could buy the new van, but that's not gonna happen. So
That's not
gonna happen.
You're gonna have to stick with the home lighting.
Yeah, you're gonna have to stay with the lighting and not do the,
Yeah.
the motel.
Okay. Proposal for entertainment district tax,
I put that on the agenda because it was brought up at the retreat, and I didn't know if we were actually moving forward with something like this or what it encompassed, so.
well, I
That
guess we
was-
need a little bit more
I kinda
research. but-
needed to be refreshed on the entertainment tax, district tax.
There is no tax on the entertainment district right now, but you could rally for a tax for the entertainment district, and then it would be collected, and it would be a board like this board, and they would have money to operate the entertainment district. And so I don't know the background of the entertainment district board and how it actually works, and what do you think of
That's
that?
gonna come to Wally. She's gonna have a meeting pretty soon, Wally, but kinda where we're at on that is it's me and Howard right now, and Bella.
Mhm.
Bella Luna don't wanna be involved on the board, they just wanna do the events, which
Mhm.
we kinda need one more person on board.
So would it be taxed all the time or only when the events are in?
I know
or
You
nothing
can
I
about
don't
make
know
any
that.
rules that you want, more than likely, I would.
Because you're not gonna generate much
Where did
money
this
on
come, where did this come
on
from?
the actual day.
Some places have entertainment district taxes, I mentioned it at the retreat, just as a, but, you know, it is a job to get that around and together. It's like when we first started the tourism tax, it's a lot of work, you know, you have to go set up an account, you have to have people on your board, you need to rally for it. And then in the area of the downtown historic area, whatever, there would be a half a cent or a cent tax or something on all, entertainment businesses, which are hotels and restaurants.
Well, I think me and Howard, we're gonna need to set up a meeting with him, and I think kinda what we're gonna do is we're gonna have to come in a couple of different boards in front of him and ask for money, you know, cause
Because you
really,
need some money now.
we need something, I mean, what it's happening right now is the entertainment district basically controls the alcohol, that's really, it's not entertainment district, we control the alcohol. We make sure that the stuff is in place as far as security, you know, businesses, toiletries and all that is in place, it's not creating entertainment.
Mhm.
So I think maybe the board's written wrong or, you know, said wrong, but I'd like to really see a lot more functions happening than just one on that board. Cause I mean, every time we open that board, it's a busy night for the people that are involved. It creates a lot of foot traffic throughout the town, not only, I mean, were you open for Blues Fest? You know what?
Not Saturday, Friday.
Not Saturday, but Friday night you were?
Yeah.
Was it busy with all the people around town?
Yes.
And everybody else to do this, I mean, if we can create more events like that.
And
awesome.
I know you're well aware of the Blues Fest is working on something
Yeah.
once a month for the next 4
Mhm.
months. And doing entertainment district
Entertainment
closing
district.
down the streets.
It's just,
They're working on
that's,
that.
you know,
in the
that's a
city.
good thing, but the way I see
And we want
it
more
is that
people to do that, but.
But I mean, like,
for to create more money, I think it would have to be a percent tax, like a 0.5% tax on food or merchandise purchased in the
Mhm.
business district, that it could be used for.
The development of entertainment in the
Mhm.
entertainment area.
But as per event, I can't see you.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's just
Getting a lot of-
confusing though, cause what's gonna end up happening is you're already charging 8.4%
Yeah,
tax
I-
on sales tax, and then how are you gonna put it in my system, another
Right.
1.2 or
Well,
1.3
you did it when
tax
you did
separate?
the county tax, don't you, the county tax? You
Yeah,
did-
but I mean, for that one night though, it's so hard to create
Well,
your
no, it
books
has to
that
be
way.
consistently, I agree, it would be
Yeah.
it'd be too much of a
Yes.
nightmare.
It'd be
It has-
just a
have to be-
nightmare.
Yeah.
It'd have to be consistent.
So what is the sales tax for downtown right now?
8.4.
8.4.
And 11.4 the hotels.
I think it's a little premature to talk about a tax district when
Yeah.
we're trying to grow stuff
I
downtown.
definitely agree. I know you need
And-
money, but I think, like you said, you need to go to some organizations and help.
Yeah.
And you need to go to the Blues Fest and see if they can help out in any way,
Well,
because
let me ask you this,
they're
Joy.
part of it.
Let me ask you this, Joy, or Camilla or Tom. Let's just say, a small, event. What would it cost, and maybe break it down from the Blues Fest? How much does it cost for the, John's, the toilets, and security?
For Blues Fest, that event was about $2,500 in
Okay.
total. Like, cause you had, and,
Cups.
and, cause the cups, but see, I think now everybody that has the cups now.
Right.
So that's saving us $500.
Okay, so $2,000.
So $2,000.
Okay, and that's for a big event.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if half of that for a medium-sized event, has the Blues Fest committee board calculated how much their monthly expenses will be?
Yes, well, they're working on that, and they
Well-
do that. I do not have those figures.
Oh, okay.
Jared, they are working on those figures because they still wanna bring in all the porta potties that they've done before.
Right, they have
And
to.
they always wanna bring in all the trash cans like they continue wanting to do
Well,
it.
they
'Cause
have
it's
to,
so
that's
clean.
what I'm
That's
trying
what
to
they
get
have
at.
to, they do that, they've done that, yeah.
What are those costs?
Well, they're working on those. Right now, they're working on it. They're going to the city council meeting, I believe,
Uh-huh,
November 5th.
Okay, so-
Right, Tommy, isn't that right?
I have no idea.
You have no idea. I'm not sure, but I think they're going November 5th to the city
Okay,
council,
okay.
Okay,
so it seems that if we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot, if we're talking about a tax, but yet we're also trying to bring or increase our business
Yeah.
downtown.
Yeah.
So you have an entertainment district event, but then we've gotta pay more when we're trying to bring more.
Right.
I think it's too premature.
Yeah.
I think we need to grow the entertainment district. Let us get ourselves going in that direction,
Mhm.
and
I
then
agree.
talk about it, either a flat fee or a tax.
Well, and I think the way to do it is you could, like what we're gonna do at the Blues Fest with the guitar. I think we could be pretty creative as far as creating something to raffle off or
Yeah.
donations or something like that, where I think people would buy,
Here-
if they could win something, they would buy it.
Here's another thing, Joy, and I don't know this, does entertainment district have a checking account? Are they, okay, you
No.
cannot collect a tax then?
Yeah. I know we
You-
don't have
Yeah,
one.
and it's, yeah.
You don't have a bona fide, status.
Mm-mm.
So are you,
What do you mean by bona fide status?
No,
well,
was that?
they're
They're
recognized
recognized
through
through
the
the
state,
state.
I understand
Yeah.
that.
But
But
we haven't created
Trinidad
a-
does not. So they cannot collect funds because they don't have an account to put it into.
The way it's broken down, the way the entertainment district's broken down is actually through each business. So each business that's on in the district is
Right.
paying their own tax and their own thing. That's why each checking account is paid by the business. So like Bricks, the way it does is on insurance with Blues Fest and Cups, is we pay whatever Rusty says, hey, this event's gonna cost you $100 in insurance and $500 in cups. That's my portion.
Right.
Moose's does the same thing, and so does Belleville.
Okay, well, that's interesting, I didn't know
But,
that.
Mhm.
but the entertainment district itself cannot collect funds. It goes to the city,
It goes to the business.
No, it goes to the business.
To pay.
to the business
Yeah.
doing the, okay.
Well, see, and that's why I really like events, and I'm really strong on this, is you gotta create events that create sales tax.
Right.
You can't approve events where they're giving out these liquor, temporary liquor things, and they don't create no sales tax for the city, cause it don't help nothing. A private event doesn't create sales tax, but a business does create a sales tax, so when they're giving out all these
You're
different
creating
festival
you're creating a
permits,
tax
we're
revenue.
creating a tax revenue that goes right back into the city,
Right.
which
That's
goes
why-
right back into the community.
That's why.
The
that's
personal
what Blues Fest
festivals
wants to
do
that.
not do that. They
Right.
don't, like, nothing against Blues Fest, but the Blues Fest tent, there's no sales tax on that. Say they sold $10,000 in liquor and beer, there's no sales tax against that. It goes right in there, so it don't go back into it.
Right, that's why we're
That's why we want like the
discontinuing
entertainment district, where
the
the
bar.
entertainment
And,
district creates it.
and that's just great, and really, it's not our job as the tourism board to run the
Mhm.
entertainment
Yeah.
district, that was just a suggestion to
Yeah.
your group.
Yeah, that's,
And if you could
But
come
what we
back-
could do is
yeah.
tourism board can help the entertainment district, cause
yes.
what we do
Yes.
is we can help with the marketing
But
part of it.
you,
The cups.
you need to get set up, and I know they're approved by the state, but in Trinidad, you need to have a board with a checking account, so you can collect those revenues to grow the entertainment
Mhm.
district.
Yeah.
Right now, it's a fledgling flop around thing.
Well, and originally the way it was created was, each business was gonna create their own, that is really in
Yes.
control of their own.
But
That's
It
what
was,
it
it was followed
It
that
wasn't an,
Fort
it
Collins was-
wasn't, the
yeah.
entertainment isn't necessarily a business where we're trying to create revenue for the
Revenue for the
entertainment district.
entertainment
It was
district.
never created that way.
No.
It was for each business in
To-
the
to
entertainment district to create
create
their own, to
their
pay
own
sales
businesses.
tax.
I do wanna say though, that I really feel that if it, in the entertainment district and the board, whoever that board is, comes to us and things like cups, we could surely from a tourism board, do
Yes.
advertising and promotion, do a nice Trinidad cup with some nice
Right.
Trinidad
Mhm.
material on the back. That's advertising and promoting Trinidad.
Right.
I hate to see that the small vendors in town are paying such a large amount for a function to happen, and then they maybe make a profit of just what that is. What's
Right.
the use of all that work for
Mhm.
our private companies?
But I agree, I think the entertainment district does need to move forward, I think we need to get bigger, I think we need to create like more of a business than just other businesses paying stuff out. I mean,
Right.
the only way to grow this really is, like the entertainment district should be selling, like you guys did for the Blues Fest, their own Moscow Mule cups that create some revenue so they can create new functions, cause the
Right.
bad thing right now is we don't have no money to create no functions.
Have you ever looked into how other entertainment districts are run?
The only other one I
You
think
know.
that's running in Colorado from Audra was the one up in, Greeley.
Well, that's how Jerry got information
Yeah,
from
with-
Greeley,
yeah.
that
How-
we
So
copied ours
I'll
from
give him a
Greeley.
call and
Did
maybe
he
talk to
get-
him and see. 'cause I
Did he
think we
get
need
a
to
thing
start-
as to how it's funded?
Oh, yeah, he called Greeley and Greeley
Yeah,
called
we all
him.
have to go, let's keep
Yes,
moving right through,
they
okay.
continued on with the Greeley. That's-
Okay, so we're there for the entertainment district, come up with something, come to us, we wanna help. Photo
Right.
contest, opening categories, prizes, winner reception. Similar to last time we did this, if you have that in the records.
I do, I
Okay,
have
good,
this,
yep,
I have the forms, I have the categories,
yep.
I did,
What are the
Add-
categories? Are they,
well, I did, you suggested opening up to youth, so
Mhm.
I added in there a block for youth, probably, 14 to 18 years old?
yeah.
Is that a good group? Do you wanna change any of the categories to include other categories?
Professional, amateur,
Well, there's two divisions, so you have professional and amateur. Your categories would be, nature and wildlife,
Right.
or, people, or outdoors, or events, or any of those, so get creative with it, follow last year's or the
Or
17
Points,
model.
points
yeah.
of interest,
Points of interest,
you know, that's.
Yeah, points of interest, great idea.
that's a good idea, points of interest, yeah.
historical
Yeah.
buildings.
Historical.
Yeah, architecture.
So think
Even-
along,
even-
what kind of photos do we need in our library? That's what we're
Mhm.
trying
That's
to
what
do.
we'd
We're
have to
trying build a
visualize.
library.
Right, like see what one of the examples is like that skate park. I mean, if we could get some kids in there doing the actual thing, that's gonna advertise the skate park for us.
Mhm.
You know, so that's what I would like to see is like the parks, the golf course, anything that's.
Activities downtown.
Anything that's gonna be on our
not
Facebook,
this.
that's gonna bring somebody, pull somebody in.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll
Okay.
put something together as far as a new photo submission form, application form for you,
Mhm.
okay?
Yeah.
And then when do you wanna announce that contest starting?
Oh, we could start it now and have it run to February, some people can look in their old
Mhm.
photos, we could, or the other part of it is that we won't have any, if people haven't been taking photos of the events lately, we won't have any entries. We'd have to wait for it to be longer for that reason.
Well, and you'll open yourself up to having some older photos that have people in them that you know, aren't here anymore or
Yeah, I
gone.
think
You probably wanna.
we want new stuff.
You probably wanna make it, photos need to have taken in the last year
Yeah.
and a half.
Do we, retain ownership of these photos?
Yes, it's in
Okay.
it's in the application form.
Okay, so we would have winter photos and spring, summer photos.
So I have seasons
Mhm.
as a category.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Advertising in the World Journal, that is actually something that's an action item. They need approval on that, so you have a letter in your packet. Should be the last, almost the last thing. There's a letter from the World Journal.
How do you think we did on the mountains and mesas ad? Do you have any idea of
I don't have any
anything?
analytics back on it,
Yeah.
on what,
Yeah,
the
nobody
news
mentioned
scores?
anything. Yeah.
I do know that we probably distributed I'd say probably 6 cases, and there's 120 in each case, so probably about 800 cases. This is also a required piece in every welcome center in the state. This is the one piece that's actually required, other than our Trinidad guide. This is a
Really?
requirement in every welcome center in the state, this Mountains and Mesas piece.
Well, why?
I don't know.
Huh.
So the state puts out a list of required pieces, so every welcome center has to have that slot for that piece. This is one of them. So there's 10 welcome centers in the state, this has to be in there.
Okay, so
Just so you
these
know.
are, an eighth of a page to a full page from between $350 to $1,200. Does anybody wanna entertain putting an, ad in the Mountains and Mesas?
Do we have one currently?
Yes, we do. I think we did the trolley last time. We did a half page,
And how long will that run?
all year,
It'll run
once a
to,
year.
it'll run to.
It's once a year magazine,
It's a
right?
once a year magazine, so this is so we
That page is
we restock
$800.
this all year long in all the welcome centers.
Let's put a new picture or something.
Is
Yeah,
that a
you
half
can-
page
you can
ad,
develop
$300, is that what you're suggesting, Tom?
Mhm.
How's everybody
Need a
feel about that?
motion?
So,
Yes.
What's the full page?
A full page is $1,200.
Let's go big.
Okay, Nancy wants to go big, how's everybody
How
feel about
about-
that?
how
Go
about
big or
half?
go home, yep.
How about half the page, the blues and our, the card, the
Cardango?
The cardango.
Or card.
Okay, so here's where we're gonna get into, they have money to advertise, they come to us for the
Yeah,
advertising
I
money, we
do-
give
I
them money
guess,
to
yeah.
advertise.
Yeah.
This is about the
This
This is
town.
about
Well,
Trinidad.
let's do a $1,200
Okay,
page and
take
let's
it
make it
easy.
an economic development piece too.
Yeah. There you go.
What do you think? I mean, I don't know, what do you think?
What do you mean academic
How about-
development?
So what are we doing? We're doing
Yeah,
full page
explain
ad?
that one to me.
We're suggesting at this
We're
point, we're
suggesting that.
suggesting talking about it, Mo, $1,200, full
It's
Can I
page.
see a full page?
It's a place to, Trinidad's a place to live, work, and play. So you can tie in, bullet points of opportunities for, fly fishing, for mountain bike. We have 1,600 miles. This was another thing the other night, the guys were
Paddleboard
shocked
canoeing
at.
up at the lake.
They were talking about, it's the only place in the state with 1,600 contiguous miles where you can mountain bike,
A gravel ride.
gravel ride.
Yeah.
Do
That's a
you,
pretty big thing.
yeah, no, that's good. Do you have an economic development budget for advertising and promoting the city yet?
I think like $10,000.
Great.
Yeah. And that's The thing is, they're working on the budget right now, so that's not like definitively
Uh-huh.
what it will be, but that is what it
So
is
if you wanna
slated
do
out.
it,
Can we get
economic
back with you?
development, you want, I could work with Wally and put together
Yes.
an ad and
Yeah, that would be
something like
great.
that.
When's the date on this party due?
I have to have something back to her as far as approved that we're gonna advertise October 30th.
We'll advertise a full page.
Yeah.
We just have to find out what we're
What
gonna
we're
do.
gonna advertise.
All right,
Yeah.
so somebody make a motion to,
Advertise with the World Journal amounts
For a
and
full
uses
page.
for the 2020 edition,
Full page,
full page. Second,
in conjunction with economic
in
development.
conjunction with economic development. Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Alright.
Aye.
Tom?
Any opposed?
Okay,
Okay.
even though they beat me up.
Okay.
Okay, advertise, Colorado Concierge Program at CTO office.
did anybody see what the Colorado Concierge Program was?
I saw
I
it just a
skimmed
minute
through
ago.
it.
Okay, so I'm gonna send you all a test, you're gonna take it on your computer, you're gonna be, official concierge for the state of Colorado, and then
Gotcha.
we'll talk
Nice.
later about doing it with
Okay.
each of the businesses.
You're just
I
not
need-
sending us to these computers, are you?
No,
Okay.
I need,
Thank God.
I forgot to add postage on your,
Okay.
agenda. So the postage for this month for fulfillment pieces is $311.46. Could I get somebody to,
I make
make a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Thank
All in
you.
favor? Aye,
Aye,
aye.
aye, aye.
Facebook up and Postmate, continue with Chronicle News.
Oh, Chronicle News. So Chronicle News's proposal came to you a bit ago, $250 a month to keep Facebook.
Are we still able
Updated.
to, are we still able to post too?
I wouldn't know. I would imagine that we have, I don't know.
So, how does everybody feel about, them updating us? What does that mean? Does that mean 10 times, 100 times a month? What is the $250 for?
It was in your last packet, not this one, but you would have to review that. And I think Nancy wanted to bring something else
Yeah.
up about Chronicle News as well.
I think Kirk was confused because we had sent a proposal to him, would they work with us on a monthly basis, which he said, yes, they would, and they would drive events. They would be overseeing the Facebook page. Which, my concern, Marty, if you do it because you have 3 jobs, and this would be adding a 4th. So, I think they're ready to start being kind of a quasi-marketing firm for us, and, running things, because they're kind of the gathering spot for a lot of things in Trinidad, and they can push onto our Facebook page. And I think they, are really wanting to do this.
Do we have to put it out for bid though?
No.
No.
No,
It's
if you
a
do
treasure.
it, their
Yeah.
bid, I mean, they proposed $250 a month.
I would say 6 months, make, you know.
If you draw up a contract that's a monthly contract, you don't have to put it out.
Yeah. I think the other thing too is if they are,
So they're just gonna do Facebook for $250.
Right.
yeah, well, but on the backside of this, I'm thinking, Joy, if they accumulate all of this information, they could also possibly help us with a brochure that we're thinking of doing in lieu of a visitor's guide. So it's kind of a,
Win-win situation.
maybe a 2-for-1 kind of thing.
Right.
Now, we're gonna have to pay them for producing the brochure, but they already have all the materials in hand. It's kinda like using leftovers.
So,
I don't want the job, believe me, I
I
don't,
think-
and I
I
don't
think-
have the
I
time for
think
the
this
job,
is-
but let me say one thing. Social media is supposed to be free, and now you're paying for it.
Yeah,
Just
but you
throwing
have to
that
have
out there.
somebody do it,
That's true.
and that's, I think that's their charge.
so what does everybody think? Marty and I can continue posting since now we have access to it, and anybody here can have access to it, or we can have them. What do you think?
Can we negotiate the
Good.
price?
Can we
Yeah, I
just
think
do
we
it?
How about we
Can
always say we're gonna start
can-
negotiating?
Can we do it for just like 2 months and see if it's worth it?
Yeah, they agreed to a month.
Yeah,
Well, let's do 2 or 3 months
Yeah.
and see if we like what it is. Then
Have
we
the
can
Chronicle
then
do
we
it
can
for,
go-
for 2 or 3 months,
And then,
then somebody make a motion.
Is that $250 with boost and everything, or is that just in the post on Facebook for $250?
no, just 250.
It's actually a pretty comprehensive list of things they'll do for $250.
So, and it's something where we
Go
need
back
to
to
go
your last
anyway.
packet.
This is the last one I read.
And would they be posting like every day, or
Yeah.
what are like the stipulations?
Yeah, I
that
think
would
they
be
may
doing?
post it 10 times a day for
If
$250.
we do November first to January 30th, that's 3 months, and we
Why
could
don't
just
you
start
table
that.
this for now and go
Okay.
back and see
I
what
think
their
let's table
proposal
it.
was,
Okay,
and
let's,
then
Can
let's.
you resend
What
it,
month?
cause I don't have it.
Yeah.
I don't think I have it either on the last
I
one.
don't have it.
resend it to all of us, if you're, okay, how's,
I got it.
we need a motion, I know
adjourn.
we all three of us have to, motion to adjourn,
Yes.
second,
Second.
all in
you.
favor?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one other thing, some lady called